Hi there, welcome back to Histo with Ali. We're continuing talking about processing and all steps involved in it. So now, let's talk about universal solvents. These are chemicals that can handle both dehydration and clearing in just one step. Sounds convenient, right? The problem is that they often damage delicate tissues because of diffusion effects. First up, dioxane. Compared to ethanol, it produces less shrinkage, and tissues actually stay pretty stable even if they sit in it for a long time. It's faster than ethanol, but it requires large volumes, and it actually contains water, which can cause up to 50% shrinkage during paraffin infiltration. It is also very expensive, although you can recycle it with calcium chloride or calcium oxide. The big downside is that it's very toxic, has a strong odor, and it is flammable. And it is even suspected to be a carcinogen. Next is tertiary butanol. This one has a strong odor, it's pricey, and it is actually solidified at room temperature. After using it, tissues need an initial infiltration step with a 50-50 mix of butanol and paraffin. On the positive side, it's miscible with water, ethanol, and xylene, which makes it helpful during dehydration when you are preparing for staining. And finally, tetrahydrofuran or THF. This is considered the best universal solvent. It's miscible with a lot of solvents and with paraffin. It works quickly, causes very little shrinkage or hardening, and it is especially good for reprocessing tissue that were not properly dehydrated or cleared the first time. It doesn't dissolve dyes, but it can dissolve mounting media. So it is really useful for dehydrating or clearing stained sections. The downside is safety. It has a pretty bad odor, and it's toxic if inhaled or absorbed through the skin. It can cause dermatitis, eye irritation, and even kidney or liver damage. It is also highly volatile, very flammable, and it can form explosive peroxides if stored too long. So universal solvents can save steps, but they come with some serious safety concerns. That's why they are not as common as ethanol or isopropanol in most labs today. After dehydration, the next step in the processing is clearing. It's called clearing because the agents we use have a high refractive index, which makes the tissue look transparent. The key requirement is that a clearing agent has to mix well with both the dehydrant, usually alcohol, and the infiltration medium, which is typically paraffin. Its main job is to remove the alcohol from the tissue and get it ready for paraffin infiltration. If the clearing step is not complete, infiltration will not be complete either. That leads to soft, mushy tissue that is hard to cut. On the other hand, if tissue stays in the clearing agent too long, it can go to the opposite way, becoming hard and brittle. Proteins can even denature, and that makes sectioning under the microtome really difficult. So clearing is one of those steps where balance really matters. Not too short, not too long. The most common clearing agent you will hear is xylene. It's fast acting, it replaces alcohol quickly and mixes really well with paraffin, which is why most labs rely on it. But it does have some limitations. If tissues sit in xylene for too long, they can harden. This is especially noticeable in fibrous tissue, muscle, CNS, and cartilage. And xylene absolutely cannot tolerate water. If there is any residual moisture in the tissue, xylene just won't work. A good way to check if clearing is adequate is by looking at the tissue. If it is properly dehydrated, it will turn transparent in xylene. If the xylene turns cloudy instead, that means water contamination is present and the reagent needs to be changed. Now, xylene comes with some serious concern. It's flammable, it produces hazardous waste that needs proper recycling or disposal. Definitely not something to pour down the drain. It is also a neurotoxin. Short-term exposure can cause headaches, dizziness, confusion, and fatigue, and long-term exposure can damage the central nervous system, and it removes the natural oil of the skin, so you really want to avoid direct contact. Besides xylene, there are a few other clearing agents you might see in histology, but I will leave it for the next episode because I don't want to make this one too long. So I will do that one as soon as possible. To end, always remember all chemicals mentioned in this video must be handled with great care and respect. Follow your lab safety protocols and comply with OSHA and other regulatory guidelines to ensure a safe working environment. Safety first, always. And for more detailed explanations and examples, be sure to refer to the Frida Carson textbook. And if you're following along, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you do not miss the next episode. Thank you.